To learn strategies for correcting this alarming trend, we hear now from NIDO QUBEIN. NIDO QUBEIN has served as chairman of 4 different companies in diverse fields and as president of a major university. He has also authored more than 24 top-selling books and is a popular platform speaker.
Các chị xem trên trang 2 của sách bài đọc, các chị còn rất nhiều cái ô trống. Và khi các chị nghe NIDO QUBEIN nói, các chị sẽ điền vào những cái ô trống này các chị nhé.
How to be a transformational leader. You know, the word transformation means to change. To transform something is to change it to the better. Are you a transformational leader? A transformational leader should always ask these 3 most dynamic questions. Number 1, what do I need my team to do? What is it I want my team to do? What is it I want the people with whom I work to do? Functionally, what do I need them to do? The second question, what do they need to be so they can do what I need them to do? An example, if I want my supervisors to execute in a certain way on a certain project, what do they need to be? They need to be committed, they need to be informed, they need to be flexible, they need to have personal skills, they need to be good listeners. What do they need to be so they can do what we need them to do? And the third question, of course, is how do I get them there? How do I get them there? How do I take them to the level of being so they can execute on the doing? And how we get them there, of course, is the most important question of all. It doesn't happen naturally. It doesn't happen automatically. It happens cumulatively. We teach them one thing today, one thing tomorrow. It adds up. Eventually, they become informed or committed, enlightened or flexible to do what it is we want them to do. Here's a discovery I made. See if you agree with me on this. You cannot take an average person and make them great. Now, you can take an average person and make them better. Of course we can. We can take average people on our team and make them better. And we should be absolutely committed to do exactly that. No transformational leader would ever run away from the duty of taking every person in his or her area and helping them to become better. But here's the one that scares me, that frightens me the most. A great person can come down to the level of average so quickly. Think about it in your own life. If once upon a time you were an excellent tennis player, or once upon a time you were an excellent pianist, and all of a sudden you stopped practicing and you stopped learning and you stopped reviewing, what happens? You went from being really, really good to being at best average. And so a transformational leader understands that he or she must know their people well and must give them whatever ingredients necessary through learning and developing so that they can remain excellent at what they do, so that they can contribute measurably, effectively, and consistently to the common good, to the objectives, to the vision and mission of the organization. Now, as a leader, each of us has 4 types, 4 forms of capital. When I use the word capital, usually you want to put the word financial in front of it, right? We say, I have the capital to invest in this business. I have the capital to, expand our product line. We have the capital to expand into a new plant, a new office building, or whatever. So one form of capital is in fact financial. But that is not the exclusive meaning of the word capital. There are other forms of capital that you and I must have, must understand, must evolve if we are to be transformational leaders. The second type of capital you have is called educational capital. Just what we're doing today. Today, we're expanding, we're investing, we're fertilizing our educational capital. Have you found out, as I found out, that some people in life walk around asking this question, can I do it? You give them a project, they go, can I do it? You ask them to sort of take a new responsibility and they think to themselves or they think loudly, can I do it? They're not sure if they could do it. Some people, though, informed, transformed, given the educational capital necessary, add one word in front of that sentence. Instead of saying, can I do it? They ask this question, how can I do it? How? Now, the how we get through education. The how we get through consistent training and development. We develop the how the same way we develop the why, by really focusing on it, by making it a primary responsibility in our life. So the first one is financial capital. The second one is educational capital. Here's a third form of capital that transformational leaders always have. It's called reputational capital. I mean, I'll bet that you're no different than me in this way. If you believe in someone, what happens? You listen to them, right? You say, this individual has credibility. I know from experience that this person can get the job done. And when I listen to this person's suggestions and advice, wisdom and skill, I too can make something come off in my life with a degree of excellence, right? Reputational capital. Some people will say, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Or, oh, she just, talks too much but doesn't back up what she says with facts, with reason, with logic. So reputational capital is how other people think of us. And the last kind of capital that all of us should have, perhaps the most important one, is called relational capital. A transformational leader has relational capital. Now that simply means build relationships with everyone that you have in your life, all the contacts. We say we have external customers to the company, but of equal importance, we have internal customers in the company, called our employees, our team members, other people in other departments with whom we work. So relational capital simply means, how do I build excellent relationships so when I need these people, or when they need me, or at least together we can work hand in hand and side by side to make really good things come to be. I'll let you in a little secret. The way I develop my relational capital in part is to have what I call the list of 100. Now, this is a figure of speech. You could have a list of 200 or a list of 10. It doesn't matter. It's your business. But the concept is the same. I have a list of 100 people. I think my list is 168 people. And I have them in alphabetical order on a sheet of paper. And then next to those names, I have columns, one for each month of the year, January, February, March, and April. And in the month of January, I look at these names on this list, and I must have a check mark next to each one of them, suggesting to me that I made some contact with this person. I've sent them a book, or I've called them, or I've written them a letter or an email, or we've been in a meeting together, some form of contact. Relational capital is the byproduct of an investment of effort and time. It is time, often invested in the right way, that creates for really strong relationships. So, transformational leaders understand that it is through other people that we can make good things come to be. Now, the most important, as I said, is relational. Relational. Think about it this way. In every relationship in your life, you must begin at the very foundational level with something called trust. It's hard to build relationships with people unless you have trust with people. I like to say I want to do business with people I like, people I trust, and people who can save me or make me money. But I have to trust them. If I don't trust you, I will not listen to the rest of the ideas that you have. It is difficult to be a transformational leader if those whom you choose to influence don't trust you. And trust doesn't happen very quickly. You cannot rush the process of trust. It happens methodically, in a very orderly way. It happens really slowly. You trust the person based on the exposure you've had to that person, based on the relationships you've had with that person. Something magical happens when you have trust with people, because then you move up to the higher level. Trust is the foundation, moves up to the next level, which is called reason. Reason. We must develop the kind of mindset through which and by which we reason our conclusions. In other words, we use logic. We develop critical thinking skills. We used a premise that is sound to build some logical pattern for thinking and moving and deciding and solving problems. You know what I've discovered? Life doesn't give us what we need. Life doesn't give us what we need. So many people in our world believe that life will just give us what we need. I mean, I know people who would go up to their boss and say, look, I need more money because my expenses went up, so you must pay me more money. Does that make sense to you? Of course not. Companies are not created just to pay more money to those who need more money. That's a good way to go bankrupt. Life doesn't give us what we need. Life gives us what we deserve. Life gives us what we deserve. And of course, I don't mean that someone with a certain sickness or illness deserves to get that. Of course, I'm not talking about that. I am talking about in the professional context, at work, in business. Life doesn't give us what we need, it gives us what we deserve. So if I want to get more, I must what? Deserve more. And the question is, how do I deserve more? And the answer is obvious. The way to deserve more is to render greater value. The more valuable I am to my team, the more valuable I am to my organization, the more valuable I am, the more I deserve. The more I deserve, the more I get. Question for a transformational leader: how do I help my team members to deserve more? You help your team members deserve more by being more valuable, by educating them, educational capital, yes, by having a good relationship with them so they listen to you and you to them, relational capital. All of a sudden they're getting more out of life, they appreciate you. So what happens to your reputational capital? Goes way up high, and then you can achieve more and more with those same people in the future. So life doesn't give us what we need, gives us what we deserve. To deserve more, we have to be more valuable. Question: how do we become more valuable? Answer: our value is measured by the size of problem we're capable of solving. You solve bigger problems, you make more measurable contributions to the organization. You solve bigger problems, you become more important. You become more important, you deserve more. You deserve more, you get more, you're getting the idea. So, trust, reason, then focus. Focus. You know, in life there are two pains you and I will suffer from. One is called the pain of discipline. Focusing yourself, your activities, your mindset, your learning on discipline. I will get the job done. I will do the necessary things to get the job done. I will acquire the necessary learning. I will learn to do these things in a way that is consistent with my organization, its objectives, its values, its mission. Or we suffer from the pain of regret. And most people you know and most people I know suffer from the pain of regret. I wish I could have. I wish I had done such and such. And so discipline is a wonderful thing. Trust, reason, focus. Then of course the next one is value. Natural byproduct of all this is greater value. And then that leads us to success. That leads us to success. We become successful people. A transformational leader would want every person on their team to be successful. Because the cumulative measurement of that team then is that everybody's happy. And if everybody's happy, everybody is going to feel the highest level, which is called significance. You feel better about you when you contribute significantly to your organization. You feel better at the end of the day when you've brought your learning and your mindset to solve a problem or to contribute to the group in a way that really brings better and more effective results. And so significance is what all of us should be aiming and focused on. Now some people live the life at the task level. You know the kind, they get up in the morning, they go to work, they do all the things they have to do, all the things we ask them to do, but then that's it. We call them transactional people. They do transactions. And they do them well, but they don't connect them in a way that creates transformation. Some people live at a higher level, called the goal level. They set goals, they make them specific, they put them in writing, they give them timelines, and they correct the path as they follow these goals. But the happiest and the most significant people I've ever met in my life are the ones who live at the purpose level. The hardest one of all. Your purpose may be different than mine, but a transformational leader would always emphasize the purpose of the organization, the purpose of the project, the purpose of this mission, the purpose of this plan that we're working on. And when people begin to understand the purpose, they're much more likely to invest themselves, to lose themselves, to give of themselves in a deeper and a wider and a more lasting way. The key action for a transformational leader is one word: influence. A transformational leader knows how to influence people. So when you influence people, not merely tell them something, you influence them. The only way you and I can do that is to first understand them. If I understand you, I understand what turns you on, I understand what turns you off, I understand why you've made that decision, I understand why you speak the way you speak, why you think about this issue the way you do, then I can influence the process in a deeper and a more significant way. Transformational leaders understand that the results that you have in your life, or the results that we collectively have in this department, on this team, in this business, are there based entirely on the behaviors that we display. So let me make a statement. You may not like the statement, but think it through. What you have in your life at this point in your life is pretty much what you deserve to have at this point in your life. How do I know that? Because how did you get here? You got to this point in your life based on the behaviors that you displayed in your life. Let's take a person who's financially broke. How did they get to be financially broke? They did things, they acted in ways that caused them to become financially broke. So, your behaviors lead to your results. Now, some managers and leaders believe that if I can only correct your behaviors, if I can show you how your behavior could be improved, then we'll have better results. Today, I want to take us to a deeper level. I want to suggest to you that transformation stems from, begins with beliefs. You behave the way you behave because of what you believe. So if I want you to behave better, I must influence your beliefs. I must show you genuinely how your contribution to this process can really influence this process and contribute to it in a big, big way. The reason sometimes that certain people succeed and others don't is entirely based on their beliefs. If you believe this opportunity can measurably help you in your life, you lose yourself in it much better and much longer than if you believe this opportunity is a mere, passing in your life. It does not really give you what you want out of life. So my beliefs lead to my behaviors, and my behaviors lead to my results. And a transformational leader understands that his or her job is to coach, is to guide, is to counsel, is to educate their teams in such a way that their behaviors can become better because their beliefs are more accurate, are deeper, are more sound, and therefore the results are then a byproduct. Transformational leaders change minds, not just behaviors. Transformation begins with the belief system in the mind, in the heart, and then that changes behaviors. They inspire and grow people. They know how to solve problems. They know how to embrace people. They know how to communicate and reinforce the company vision in such a way that makes for good things come to be. At the end of the day, what transformational leaders really do is help others become all they can become. They get to know their team. Because when I know you, then I can show you. And when I can show you, then I can grow you, help you to grow. Tell you a story. This man opened up a store. It was at the corner of two streets there, and it was a small store. His goods were of fine quality. His prices were competitive. His service was extraordinary, and his customers liked this person, and they liked the store. And so they began to tell their neighbors and their friends about the store. Well, of course, you know what happened next? He expanded the store. You know what happened next? He opened up more stores. And before you know it, he had lots of stores all across the country. One day, this man was taken ill to the hospital, and he knew that he was going to die. And he had 3 adult children, and he wanted one of his 3 children to become the president of this company. But he did not know which one is the best person to become president. So what he did is he reached in his pocket, and he took out some money, and he gave person number 1, son number 1, a bit of money, and person number 2, a bit of money, and daughter number 3, a bit of money. And he said, I want you to go downtown today and spend this money any way that you want. But when you come back here tonight, in this hospital room, however you spent your money and whatever you've spent it on must fill this room. From corner to corner, it must fill this room. So of course they were excited to become president of this big and profitable company. They all went, they all spent their money, they all came back in the evening. And the father said to son number 1, how have you spent your money? Someone said, Dad, I went out to a friend of mine who has a big farm. And this big farm, he has a lot of bales of hay. And he brought in 2 bales of hay that he bought with his money. And he tore it apart. And he threw the hay up in the sky. And for just a fleeting moment, the room was filled with hay. But you know what happens to hay? Settles down on the floor. And the father said, no. Number 2, what have you done? Number 2 said, I went down to a store that was selling pillows that are filled with feathers. And he brought in this pillow filled with feathers, tore it open, threw the feathers up in the sky, and for a moment, the room was full. But the feathers settled down the ground, just like the hay settled down on the floor. And the father said, no. Number 3, what have you done with your money? Number 3 said, Dad, I went down to the store just like the one you had years ago. I gave the owner of the store my money, and I bought 2 things. Reached in one pocket, took out a little candle. Reached in the other pocket, took out a little matchbook. Struck a match. Turned the light switch off. Lit that candle. And that room was filled from corner to corner to corner to corner. The room was full, not with hay, not with feathers, but with light. What does a transformational leader do? He or she lights the path for success and significance for those who would choose to follow. Transformational leaders change minds, not just behaviors. They inspire and grow people. They solve problems. They embrace meaningful change. They communicate and reinforce the company vision and mission.